Let's first talk about the moves by Simon Harris to, if you like, try to coordinate a move among EU states to recognise a Palestinian state. What do you say?
We don't think that this is the right time for such recognition. We ask why reward terrorism? This is giving a very dangerous signal to Hamas and other terror organizations. But also my question is, what are they going to recognize? Is it going to be a three-state solution? Who will control Gaza? Because right now, the Palestinian Authority and Hamas are rivals. They're killing each other. Hamas just killed Palestinian Authority employees in Gaza trying to bring aid. So they're not talking between themselves. Who will govern? What state will that be? This is not the time to do that. This will not help the Palestinian
Have
people.
you had any information from our Department of Foreign Affairs, or indeed from the Taoiseach's department, as to what exactly they propose to recognise? As you pointed out, there are two distinct enclaves of Palestinians, the West Bank and Gaza, which, as we know, is partly destroyed at the moment. So what does the Irish government intend? Have they shared that with you?
They have not shared it yet. We are in ongoing conversations. It's part of our diplomatic open channels that we maintain. But my question is, what will it look like and why now? Especially, we do not think that it will benefit the Palestinian people. Any enforced solution from a third party will not be helpful. And I know that a lot of people here draw comparisons with the situation in Ireland. Just imagine if the international community would have enforced a solution on you.
Now, the question of who runs whatever Palestine state there might be and how it would be configured geographically is still an open question. But if Hamas were not involved, would Israel have the same difficulty if there was a new Palestinian Authority of some construct looking after the two parts of the territory? Would you have a difficulty with the recognition of statehood then?
Any long-term solution, any possible future solution needs to be between the parties involved. It needs to be a bilateral agreement between the parties. And in the past, we've sat and we've discussed it with the Palestinian Authority and other Palestinian representatives. We are willing to negotiate when there is goodwill on the other side. Right now, the situation during a war against a genocidal terror organization that does not want coexistence, it does not want peace, to mix this current war with a possible solution of a Palestinian state, this is not the time to do
Now,
it.
it is the declared aim of Hamas, as distinct from the Palestinian Authority, to eliminate the state of Israel. But the word genocidal is being applied to Israel now, not so much to Hamas, even though it is their declared objective.
We see the devaluation of those legal terms, and I remind you, it's legal terms. And I use that term with regards to Hamas because Hamas, in their charter and their actions and their statements, publicly say that their aim is to eliminate the Israelis living in Israel, all of Israelis, and the Jewish nation, the Jewish people. So they declare that, therefore it's genocidal. When you look at the legal term, intent is the most important word in that description. And right now, what we see, that's a very cynical application at the ICJ by South Africa, is just abuse of the international.
But when you destroy the place where people live, where you make it impossible for them perhaps to return to their homes, 1/3 of Gaza has been so badly damaged that it amounts to destruction. So people who are being shuttled from here to there, from Gaza City to Khan Yunis up to Rafah, being moved around, there will be, according to Prime Minister Netanyahu, an incursion into Rafah, which will mean that the movement of more people. The Israeli Defense Forces have bought 40,000 tents. What are they for? Not to house themselves, but to house people they're going to displace.
The most important thing in all of the different statements that you just made are why. Why is this happening? Not just why because Hamas started this war on October 7th, and it's a war. It wasn't a one-day attack. It's a war that they're constantly firing at us, targeting us every day since October 7th. But why, in the sense of why is Hamas operating this way? And the fact that we are not holding them accountable, that here in Ireland, people are letting them off the hook and not talking about what they're doing, be it abusing them as human shields, abusing civilian infrastructure, schools, hospitals. What happens at Shifa and Nasser Hospital, that needs to be condemned.
The moves for peace talks, I put it the other morning to people we were talking to that both sides made the other an offer that they had to refuse.
I'll just correct you about that. These are not peace talks. Hamas does not want coexistence. These are negotiations for an interim ceasefire in order to bring back all of our kidnapped.
But both parties made each other offers that they could not refuse. Hamas wanted Israel completely out of Gaza. Israel, on the other hand, wanted at least the hostages given back and Hamas to lay down its arms. That was the original negotiating position. But the word is coming out that perhaps Hamas don't even have enough living hostages to swap.
They don't have the 40 by their categories. So Hamas, in a very cynical way, draw different categories for which kidnapped will be released when. We want all of our kidnapped to be released. These are civilians that were kidnapped from their homes. The same agony and the same dedication that we saw when Emily Hand was in the hands of Hamas, we are continuing that fight to bring back all of our kidnapped home. And these are not hostages. These are not prisoners of war, as some people here sometimes mistake to make. These are people that were kidnapped and need to be returned, not now, yesterday. The war can end in a heartbeat if they're returned home and Hamas stops with its genocidal attempts against Israel.